I didn't wanna see you when you came home, 'cause you always try to hurt me and that's so low. When I talk to you about it, you're in defense mode. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. How can we work on ourselves when you say no? Whoa, oh, oh, oh. I'll never go on like this, so don't you think you got me up? Yeah, I can't seem to deal with this. You try so hard to pull me in. I'll never go on like this, so don't you think you got me up? Yeah, I can't seem to deal with this. You try so hard to pull me in.
She got me hooked though. Well, she pulling me in like a black hole, trapped in a grip and I can't break. Out of control and I can't feel my soul and my heart on my damn face. 'Cause I ain't be nothing without her. A king with no queen and no damn kingdom, serving up hate with a cold vengeance. Fuck, but I hate her, we can't slay her. Yeah, she's got me hooked, I'm down, I ride. Leaving, she tried to kill me, I can see it in her eyes. Yeah, she's got me shook, this my demise. I'm bleeding, can someone heal me? I can't deal with no more lies.
I'll never go on like this, so don't you think you got me up? Yeah, I can't seem to deal with this. You try so hard to pull me on me.
Welcome to unrealization. We came prepared to kill the operation. It ain't fair, but I feel like we're the nation. So raise the flag and do the preparation. Welcome to reality, there's no way back. Welcome to reality. Can't fuck with that. It's okay to be on top like forever, man. This is hard fucking beeping after aliens. We on top of the world, we the sapiens. Do you understand massive complication there? Do you really think you know what I'm made of? My flow is so magical, I'm old, call me Gandalf. You can shine, but I'm about to go off. Heard me wanna believe what I'm saying, but I cannot do this at all. Welcome to reality, there's no way back. 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 Welcome to reality, there's no way back.
Mama said you're meant to burn as bright as a star among the midnight sky. All the pressure blinded me, but now I see I'm no different from the rest. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down. Now I'm lost and I'm afraid, and I'm close to hit the ground. You said I'd fly away. You said I'd fly anyway, but I keep on falling. You said I'd fly anyway, but I keep on falling. But I keep on falling. We're all searching for that open door. Show me proof that there is something more. I just hope I am okay with the choices I make. Maybe then I'll understand. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down. Now I'm lost and I'm afraid, and I'm close to hit the ground. You said I'd fly away. You said I'd fly anyway, but I keep on falling.
Welcome in everybody to Blitz Gaming Series. It's the beginning of our week. We've got plenty of matches coming throughout, but let's go ahead and break into this one. My name is Kyler Grant. Joined with me is Chaka, and we were supposed to have 3 games today, but Fluffy Aimers had to cancel due to the schedule. You might have seen it on the pregame here before our stream started up. So that one's actually going to be a loss. It's not going to be a reschedule, which we've been seeing with some of our element teams. So do keep that in mind. That will be a forfeit for Fluffy Aimers, but we do still have 2 other games today. But before we do all that, let's go ahead and take a look at our standings and see where our teams kind of rest after some of our action has been played. In Group B, the group that we're going to be starting with, we're going to be seeing Kunai Hush. Wanted Goons has forfeited their game, so we have a lot of games completed in Group B. For some of these other games, Chaka, we still have yet to see the full swing of things for all of our teams.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, Fluffy Aimers have forfeited their game. So far in BGS, they haven't officially played a game this season. And they actually do have a win on the board. That was actually a forfeit win for them against Free Eli. The only other element team that has consistently played a game inside of BGS so far has been Makers, who is top of their groups. Just the other day in their last Playday against the 86 Pistons, they had an overtime win. I think it was a max OT, so it had to go the full distance for them to be able to get their second win of the season. But, they're sitting pretty on top of Group C. Aerial Rise still hasn't played their official game of the season, so you have Zomblers and Phantom Legion fighting it out in Group A for that #1 spot up until Aerial Rise actually get to play their games.
Let's go ahead and talk about our current matchup that we will be seeing. We do have 2, but the first one, it's going to be Kunai versus Hush, and we actually have already seen this matchup in the previous match. I think it was match day 2 potentially. So these teams already have a feel for each other. That was a max overtime game. So that one went to the wire. I think our first game, it's going to be the exact same thing for you, Chaka. What are you expecting as we look at our teams here?
I don't know. I'm expecting it to be as close as it was on Playday #2 when both of these 2 teams played on Cafe in that 8-7 victory. That one, just like the Makers versus 86 Piston games, had to go the full distance. They got max OT, and it was Hush who ended up edging them out. So, I'm just hoping for a really close game, just like how we got on Playday #2. And as you guys can see the rosters, there are players on Kunai that I've seen around the T3 and T4 sector, but I'm not too familiar with. Whereas with Hush, we all know who Nyx is.
Yeah.
Established T1 Pro, and now he's had a whole host of players who have kind of come under his wings, and he's hoping to develop them into players that he can take with him to another level.
Yeah, I think that's an important factor to kind of figure out, because Hush do have that little bit of an identity with Nyx, and it's able to give the rest of these players a little bit of a base to stand on. But I think we also do need to take a look at these map bans, because all these teams have played each other, so you kind of do have this feel. And I think this is where things are very interesting for this, because Cafe is where Hush won last time, but look at it, they actually banned it this time, and now we're going to be going to Clubhouse. There must be something in the back of Hush's mind. Even though they won that, they might be thinking, oh, I don't know. What are you thinking, Chaka? What is maybe the mentality for banning the map that you won previously? I mean, what, a week ago?
Yeah, the thing about that is that I can see where they're coming from. It was a very close win, scarily close for Hush. They had an opportunity to, no, actually it was Kunai who had an opportunity to close it out in regulation from what I can remember, because I actually casted that game with Goose. So I think the thought process is they already know how we play on it. We're not really willing to change much up in order to surprise Kunai with anything. So let's take them to a map where it's not going to be slightly different. I think Clubhouse is well figured out by this point. It's been a map pool ever since the beginning of Siege. So maybe they're thinking, okay, we bring them to a Clubhouse, a more structured map, something that fits our playstyle. And Kunai are slightly more chaotic than Hush is on that front, so I can see where Hush is coming from in picking Clubhouse.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a difficult one to toss up, because Clubhouse was something that Hush banned. Hush were the ones who banned it last time. So now, who knows? I think this might give Kunai the edge, saying like, hey, we're more comfortable on this map. But I think this is something that they have been prepping for. Like, hey, how do we prepare for these types of maps? Because obviously, we're not comfortable at Cafe, so we have to get better at Clubhouse. So it's interesting to see what kind of preparation work goes into this map. And now it's really, where do you think the difference is going to be made? So I got to ask you that question, Jaka. for Hush, what do you want to see them improve at? Yes, it's a different map, but maybe to look better and maybe not go to overtime, because I think we can say that they're on the back foot. This is probably not the map they want to go to. So for how can they get the ball rolling quickly?
I don't know. I just want to see them. We already know Hush as like a pretty structured team in terms of like the way that they like to play, how Nyx likes to IGL his teams. So I'm hoping to see more of that on a structured old school map like Clubhouse. I don't know. I really do want to see them improve at their defenses, because I know in a cafe game against Kunai, it wasn't just Hush, it was also Kunai who struggled massively with their defenses, giving up a lot of gaps, a lot of free lanes for the attacks to take control of and like isolate defenders in positions by themselves. So I don't know. It's going to be quite challenging. I think this is going to be a very tough game to decide what team needs to like fix what, because to be fair, I haven't seen enough of Kunai to make many judgments on them. Whereas for Hush, we've seen them around the block. They played in Element Quals. They played in the 3C Quals that happened over the weekend. They played in the BGS Quals, Qual number 1, where they qualified into BGS. So we have a lot of notes on Hush and how they like to play. It's been said and tired out by this point about how Hush like to play. So I don't know. I think this game is going to be quite hard to predict, because the last game that these two teams played against each other was just that close.
And I think something I think what's going to be the identity is that Clubhouse is such a fundamental map. This in Oregon, it really is something that's kind of hardwired into some of these players' mindsets. And I think as we develop into this game, are we going to see some of these same mistakes? Because you mentioned it, Kunai had opportunities to win their game on Cafe, and Hush was obviously, I think, maybe better on paper, especially in their experience. So the fact that they go the distance on that map is a little scary for them. And now they're going to have to rely on maybe the leadership of Nyx on a more fundamental map.
Yeah, and given the fact that Cafe is a pretty standard map, and Hush like to play standard maps, they don't really like to flirt with the more aggressive maps like your Borders, your Chalets. They don't even like to play Skyscraper, so it's not a big surprise that Sky found itself banned pretty early on in the ban phase for our map bans between Kunai and Hush. But also, like, you know, going on to Clubhouse now, it's gonna be weird, I think, to like again predict it. And it's weird. I don't know. I think this game is kind of weird to like judge so far, because the last game was just really, really close. There's not really much more that you can say.
I think Skyscraper is an interesting talking point, because Kunai, that was their first ban in their previous matchup, and now this time they didn't even ban it. Hush had to make it as their last ban. And would that have been maybe their Clubhouse ban? Would they have wanted to go there? But then when Kunai says, oh, we're not banning Skyscraper, maybe they found something on Skyscraper, and then that forced Hush to come out and say, okay, maybe we have to ban Skyscraper. I don't know. I think it's an interesting mindset here and what the possibilities could have been. And it shows just when you look at the bans alone, how much these teams have changed in the course of just one matchup.
Yeah, so we're actually having, if you're wondering why you're just saying the pictures of Clubhouse over and over again as if we just don't know this map enough, it's because we're actually struggling to get like one more player into the lobby between Kunai and Hush. So we're gonna send it to a quick break, and once we come back, it'll be Clubhouse between Kunai and Hush for their second game of the season.
You know you left me lonely, I could tell them the whole story. It may take a couple hours, I've got time, let's get to chat. How could I explain the situation? Man, it's so damn complicated. Where do I start, where do I end? I should go back to bed. I'm going back to all the basics, teaching myself now how to erase it. It's like learning a whole new language, and I'm afraid, too scared to face it. I just want consistent clarity, but all my thoughts destroying me. Some peace of mind is all I need to get peace to all of my family. I can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask, don't play pretend. You think you are everything I need, but I gotta leave. can't get through to me. It's not you, yeah, it's always me. I close my heart to you, you see it opens up for nobody. It's been so hard to fall asleep. The weather always makes my nose bleed. Makes my nose bleed. It's so hard to believe that one day I'll feel peace. I want control over my life. I want that driver's seat. Yeah, it's not you that I need. You push me down when I'm weak. You were never there for me. Go pick up your keys and leave. I can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask. Don't play pretend. You think you're everything I need, but I gotta leave. Can't go back to you, my friend. Don't even ask, don't play pretend. Cause you think you are everything I need, but I gotta leave.
Look me with your pretty eyes and run with me, yeah. Cause you and I are the secret. Feel my drift against your skin. Cause honestly, yeah, let's hold our breath. This is so real. Just you and me, let's escape, girl, tonight.
Alrighty, folks, we've got this one underway. We actually had Oregon up into the clubhouse. It's kind of funny because we talk about like, oh, those two are so similar in map structure. Well, we accidentally clicked it. Maybe we just kind of spoke it into existence in a sense. But we're going straight into the bands. And now, it's also interesting. I don't know if you're going to remember those bands specifically, Chaka, but like, how much of the bands? Ooh, that's interesting. Hold down the basement, says Kunai. We are not going to really let you pop up those hatches. Interesting. And you had a big reaction, Chaka. I'm curious, what's going through your head when you see a Habana band on Clubhouse?
Okay, well, I mean, Dokubi's banned up, so that means that we won't see the Monty ban. So he's going to be available for Hush starting off on their attacks. But when I see the Habana ban, yeah, like you mentioned, it's just going to be mainly locking down the basement and ensuring that the hatches don't get open, because your only options to open up the hatches are hard breach gadgets, thermite charges, and the Selmas. Selmas are not an effective way of opening up hatches on a very hatch dependent setup like basement on Clubhouse. So banning the Habana is ensuring that they are probably going to keep the hatches closed. And I wonder what the last offensive ban is going to look like, because you have your options to further lock down the basement with the Tuberal and the Kaid, and I have to imagine that they're going to be banned out here.
Well, I think it's interesting because now do you as an attack? Okay, the Azami. I think Valk is really, Azami's a common ban, but no Monty is one big talking point. I also think for attacking teams, do you bring the breaching charge in your back pocket if your operator allows it? That might be a way of opening up these hatches, but what, you got to bring 3 operators to do so? So then, I think Ace would obviously maybe be the next pick. I'm curious, so what do you think is going to be the selection for these offenses? And we're looking at it now. I think it might be the breaching charges in the back pocket. Unless they switch it up. They can still switch it up in the prep phase.
Yeah, I mean, you could always bring the hard breach gadget in the back pocket of Grim from Demi that's being covered over so far in the prep phase that Kunai are setting up for.
Get a striker.
In the basement area. You could also bring a striker, like you mentioned, which is exactly what Relax is going to be doing, it seems like. And you can also bring the Buck. You have many options for who carries the hard breach gadget around, even the Ying, who's left up at a ban phase. I was so hung up on Monty that I literally forgot that Ying is left up available to a team like Hush, who favor an execute heavy approach. on any map. It doesn't really matter what the map is. And so giving them Ying to start off on their attack may be sort of a mistake here for Kunai, but they are going to be setting up for a heavy roam, looking to deny as much map control as possible, stopping Hush from even reaching the point of execution on the basement site.
And it looks like I'm assuming they're going to triple reinforce church wall. I don't know, but they went for the Mira inside of blue rather than on that church wall. So it's interesting to kind of see how they want to do it here. And look at that Kunai's Dexy. He's being droned out. That's the Goyo who's going to be forced out back towards blue. So they're already kind of backing some players down. But execute heavy is the word on the street, and they have. So the Buck is going to bring the breaching charge as well as relax. So they're going to rely on those two players. If you get an opening pick on one of those guys, it makes it very difficult for the hatch game from then on.
And you already see map control established for Hush around the garage area. They're going to be looking to try and flush out this roam as possible and even set themselves up for a blue execute. And they do have the tools to do that, most namely with the Ying. They don't have Grim and Capital Bolt, so I can imagine that challenging for the utility position is going to be quite hard to do. It seems like, though, that they're not really off to a great start when it comes to the map clear, because it's already a minute gone. They haven't really found much map control apart from what's already been given to them.
Yeah, they got to worry about Retro, who's over towards this bar, who's kind of watching the kitchen hatch. He does have a little crack onto the hole, but he does have the hatch to potentially drop down if need be. And look, you talk about it, Hush needs to get better map control. So far, they're not doing that. Retro's been a huge problem, kind of taking up the center point of this attacking position for these offenses. And right now, it's really only the fuse that's causing any sort of problem, but not a lot of work done from Hush.
And they're setting up for a hatch drop towards blue.
My.
They already got utility control, it seems. Retro kills his own teammate, but then he finds the refrag, or at least the first kill, starting off with Kunai. There is a couple of kills happening on the board. Kunai find 2, and they set themselves up in a 2v4.
Yeah, and it looks just a little too slow for Hush. However, it's a 4v2. Demi is still aware, I believe that's Retro, that he still has to deal with. Can he find the kill? There's not a lot of time to work with. No more Ying grenades to throw, and Overweight's going to shut it down. Bless will find one outside of that team kill, but Dexy's aware to the danger. And the first round, I think that first round is going to be even more heavily favored to the defense in basement with no Habana, and it really showed on that round. That was a strong defense and a strategy outside coming from Kunai, and we did see an adaptation to the Monty. So far, it looks like this is kind of hurting Hush at the beginning of this.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, Hush didn't really do much of anything in that round. They didn't spend any time clearing the utility. Yeah, very slow. They didn't clear any map control. And the response from Kunai once Hush were starting to pressure the site, specifically utility room and also the hatch inside of kitchen, it was a very immediate response that got shut down pretty quickly. And you can imagine that for Hush, that like they just didn't really set up for much of anything. The Goyo canisters weren't cleared. Mirror windows and utility in the blue area were still held up. The only kill that they got, or the only 2 kills that they got, happened one because of a team kill and the other at the end of a round when it doesn't really matter anymore. And already Kunai, they win a very strong site for the defense, yes, but it was extremely convincing for them because Hush didn't really do much of anything.
Now there's a clash. This is going to be interesting. Was the clash droned? Is there going to be an adjustment for that clash that's being brought out? There's also going to be a bandit and a two-brow, and that's going to slow things down. And that was not going the way of Hush, right? They were struggling heavily to try and get some pace on the map. And now there's going to be a clash that might be able to slow things down. And then the bandit and the two-brow. So things look difficult for Hush in terms of time restraints. How are they going to work out against that clock? You got 2 minutes and 38 seconds to work with. What's going to be the key factor on their offense, Chaka?
Just trying to speed up the pace slightly. You know that there's going to be a lot of time delay utility here from Kunai, which is very evident from their lineup. So working at a pretty decent pace. They've already opened up the jacuzzi wall, it seems, but they are working against whatever. No, actually they got the jacuzzi wall open, so that is actually an angle that they've opened up pretty early. That's much better progress in the early round compared to what they were able to do in the last round.
Now there's a lot of players kind of curling up towards this wall waiting for something to happen. You can see the diffusers kind of being passed around like a hot potato. Now I think this is going to be the wall that has a little bit more difficult from the side of Hush's attack. However, I think that pressure from Jacuzzi forced them back over towards Khan, and now it's going to give them control of that side of the map. And this is a good little angle that Hush is working on, but as I say that, Demigod, he's going to drop. Trix is going to find the opening kill, and that's a massive opening blood as it just puts that Hush attack once again right back on the back foot. The Branks are being pumped, and Kunai have control of their defense.
It's going to be pretty tough for Hush already in the 5v4, attacking into the second floor site. Every position is accounted for here for Q9. It's really going to be about stopping the entry points. The Clash is going to make that even more difficult by playing in construction. And already 2 kills found on the other side of the map. The CCTV push has been shut down by Geku all by himself.
Oh, and a great swing there from Dexy. Whenever you see the Clash put the shield away and pull out the gun, it's just going to be straight shots. Bless is going to drop as well. And Dexy was not feeling the shield, however, feeling the wrath of the bullets, and it's going to be a strong start here on the defense for these guys. And man, I mean, it looks like that weird ban, or I mean, not weird, but unorthodox ban is starting to play with the mind. And we're going to a technical pause. I believe there's some issue with their VCs. So now this might give Hush a chance to think things out and go to that third terrestrial. I can never say that word. Tertiary. The third site. I'm not even, you see, you're much better at it, Chaka. But this tech pause is going to give Hush some time to kind of maybe think some things out.
Yeah, I mean, pace improved in the second round, but again, not really able to just get inside of the map. It seemed like whatever happened by CCTV, they just sort of want to forget, because it seemed like players just ran in from the CCTV breach. They didn't take their time to clear any sort of map control or gain any themselves. They died to one singular player. There was nobody on red stairs. So the entry into CCTV shouldn't really have been that hard, especially if the only player that's like blocking you from getting in is a player on the server racks. You have the platform wall open. It looks like you could also like push in from garage. You could push up red, but it didn't really seem like Hush had the intel to make that happen. So it's another round where things just aren't really going well for Hush. They can't really get themselves into an execute position because they're not able to like clear the map around them. And Kunai are doing a very good job of like getting the picks that they need, but also wasting as much time as possible for Hush, so that, you know, by the time they do try and go for an execute, or by the time that they do try and get map control, they have to go for an execute, and they have to put themselves in a really tough position to make a very hard decision.
For Kunai, it's very easy when you do have that Clash to retake that space, right, Chaka? They do give up construction / CCTV. Once they realize there's a lot of pressure happening over towards the side of Jacuzzi, but then the Clash just kind of walks back. Dexy just kind of slowly takes the map, pulls out the pistol, gets those last 2 kills to remain. So all is well that ends well, but it was a good start from Hush, and we thought it was going to be a better performance. However, in the end, it just didn't have the legs on their offensive push. Now, coming out of this tech pause, are we going to see something better from the side of Hush? Nothing too unorthodox in terms of their operator selections for either of these sides. We are going to be seeing the Clash again, so will that cause more problem?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder where the Clash is going to be playing. I imagine that someone is going to be playing on the Raptors position, and you have a lot of utility here for Hush to push into this position quite effectively. The only thing that's going to be an issue is trying to open up the lower garage wall, but it seems like that with the reposition from the Menses that they might have that lower garage wall open. That's going to make it much easier to then push onto the Raptors position, but it doesn't really seem like they've dealt with any of this, and the reason why is because they just only have impact grenades. Thatcher is open. We should probably be picking him on a CCTV cache site.
Now, some pressure coming through, and it does feel a little bit slow. They haven't gained control of Rafters, Hush, but there's still some time to work with. Maybe get things settled out. Here comes Bless. Is he going to get a crucial claw out of the way? That one just kind of walked in for free. And now, does the Cade have anything left? He still has one more claw, but look at this. Demigod's going to find a free kill. That was Trix, who's roaming on first floor. He's going to be found out. There still is one more player to deal with over towards the main stairs, and that is slowing Hush down a little bit, trying to worry about him. But the numbers go the way of the attack.
Yeah, with the bug down below, this is going to be quite dangerous for Kunai to be sitting on top of site. They're already trying to get aggressive and see if they can find a pick. I don't know why Nyx is just sitting there, because he's exposed himself to the minted. So you get this good control, but then you lose a body. But that's all well and good. You get this below control. You clear the I forgot the name, the Kaid Electrical off of the platform wall. You open platform breach up. Now your next step is probably going to be trying to push into the garage position.
Well, they didn't get that wall open up quite just yet. There was a tuber out freeze that's coming through. Oh, is that gonna make it? No, that's not gonna work, my friend. Even I know that. I wasn't gonna question you until it didn't work. The door is finally gonna be open, and the Capital says, "Thank you, let me in," like it's a new ride at Disneyland. And now all hell is breaking loose across the map. Hush is gonna come out on top. No. I just jinxed it. Overweight just gets uno dos tres. Dexy's gonna help out as well, as he does on the Clash. Pulls out the pistol and whips him in the face, and it is a perfect start from Kunai on the defense. A little chaotic there towards the end on that Hush attack.
Again, it's Kunai playing into like the time waste with the Clash on the top Raptors position, and Hush, you know, to get the platform wall open by some way of some funky mechanics with the exothermic charge and the tuber canisters. They get platform breach open, and then they realize, okay, we don't have enough time. We have to just run on in. But again, they don't deal with the Raptors position. You have the Clash playing on Raptors, who's able to get like a 3K. That was Geku as the Clash. And it's again, Hush are just kind of like taking way too long, and Kunai are playing very excellently for the clock or for time waste utility with the tuber canister specifically. And then again with the Clash at the end, who was able to just shut that whole push down because they just neglected or couldn't clear or didn't have enough time to clear Raptors in time. And so already you have Kunai with a very good start on their defenses, 3-0, as they now switch over to the attack.
Great start to life here for Kunai. I mean, it seems like Hush is just flustered. It could have been the bands of the operator or the maps, but Hush, they did walk away in Playday 2 on Cafe 8-7, and now it seems like there's more chaos to come from this time now on Clubhouse. Kunai, perfect start. What can they replicate on their offense, however? But they have dug themselves to the hole. They are not going to also obviously have the Habana. So let's see how they tackle opening these hatches. And it looks like they're going to elect for Retro to pick the ace.
It's also Hush not really playing into much hatch now. They seem to have a heavy roam on the top floor. I say heavy, it's only really one player here, and that's Nyx on the castle. But yeah, I hope this is going to be snuffed out by Kunai before long, because Nyx is the only player up here with a lot of pressure surrounding him around this first floor. He's already backed off and given a lot of control from Kunai. I really do like the lineup here from Kunai as well. They brought like the EMPs for the Thatcher for this basement site to help support the hard breach utility that Kunai have brought, and they brought enough to open up the rest of the hatches here, as well as triple wall with the ace. They also have the Capital boats too to then push into the utility room, where Kunai, or rather Hush, have backed off into.
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure, and it seems to be a much more fast-paced offense from Kunai. Here comes the work onto the hatches. First one up, it's going to be the blue hatch. And now Hush, they have been confined to the basement, so it's going to be a 5v5 basement take. No more roamers. They've cleared this out. They're going to have a minute 20, minute 10, whatever you want to call it, to really set up this execute. But Bless, he has a huge role to try and deny this triple wall on the church wall, because there could be a lot of pressure coming his way. But still, it's Kunai just getting ready.
Selma's to go out to the... Okay, no, EMP to go out first, and then the Selma's, because it was electrocuted. So will he have enough time to fully trick this wall up?
Uh-oh, nope.
With the second EMP there, that means that the Claw does not successfully trick the triple wall. This applies a lot of pressure to the site, and now Hush are just pinned in here with nowhere else to play.
The walls have fallen. The castle is about to be stormed. It looks like Trix will be the first line of attack for Kunai. And it's a little dance around this desk over by the church wall. Trix can't get the aim. It doesn't matter, though, because Retro, he's putting some pressure of his own onto the site. Now, it is still this little dance of do-si-do, and it is a jiggle of the head. Somehow, no one's had their hair clipped off just yet. But as I say that, Nyx, the captain, shuts it down. Gonna bring this right on back to a 4v4. Here comes some pressure over from the other hatch on the site, and now right back to the stairs is Retro. He's now being tasked with what was Trix's job. 20 seconds on the clock, overweight. He's been popping off so far. He's gonna come alive again. Dexy, he's been the other name. He's off to his 6-0 start. Here comes a collapse from the backside. Never gonna be seeing that one, Demigod. And Kunai, they have the formula. They've got it all figured out. The bands, every which way, the maps, the operators. It's a 4-0 start, and Hush, they are drowning with no life preserver.
Yeah, that was a very dominant round from Kunai, and it's no surprise that Hush take a timeout. That previous round was a very good round for Kunai in terms of like the way that they set themselves up around the site. They did a very good job of pinching out the only roamer on the first floor, who then backed off, gave them full map control, and you just have a bunch of utility for Kunai as well to make it easier to push onto site. EMPs to help with the triple wall when Hush were trying to batten down the hatches and really keep the site closed so that they have more positions to play around. Once the triple wall got open, you're very limited in where you can play, and you combine that with the way that Kunai kind of split themselves off in different positions, pressuring from Moto, pressuring from utility room or the secret stairs, pressuring from dirt, pressuring from bottom stairs as well, to just cut off any rotations between sites. That was a really perfect push from Kunai that Hush just didn't really have enough to deal with. And yeah, no surprise to see them take a timeout, because now you're kind of like weighing your options. Do we go back down to basement, or do we then like move on to second floor?
Ooh, I mean, what was the discussion of that during the timeout? That was a tactical timeout, or that wasn't like a tech timeout, a scheduled halftime break. Hush had to call in and allow their team to breathe, because they are just fighting for their lives. I mean, Kunai just seems to have them at every turn. They know exactly where they're going to be. It seems like there's been a lot of prep work going on to this clubhouse. And for future teams, I think if you want to come up against Kunai, you're going to have to come up with something different, because the bands so far, they have been throwing them off. The strategy, yes, is they have been pretty standard considering the bands, but really it has just been all Kunai. Hush just seems to be lost for words, and they're going to switch it up. They're going to go up to the second floor. They're not going to try and deal with the hatch game. They're just going to chalk it, go second floor. Nothing too crazy, although the cap can always does catch my eye. That's the first guy I ban in ranked games. Is he going to catch anyone out in this Kunai team? I say no, because this Kunai team is playing so fundamentally correct. Other than that, though, nothing too crazy in the operator selections.
You say fundamentally correct. They're also playing very patient as well. So, like in that last round, I expected a couple of players, especially because we're in T3 to T4. I expected a couple of players to get like really aggressive and try and go for a one-on-one trades, because they have a lot of that control in the basement site. But they took the time to drone it and figure out where the rest of the Hush defense was, and that shows a lot of like grit and patience on their side. So I think that even though the Capcan is on the board, and I think it's a good pick for certain things, I don't really think it's going to help Hush with much of anything, because Kunai are just that patient of a team.
Oh, what? And there's a player flying out. That's Nyx, who's going to get Hush on the board. And now it honestly looked like Kunai was a little bit lost. They called in the Flores drone, didn't really have a plan of action with that, and ran out of time. And then Demented, he's also going to get found out. That's Nyx who's going to get Hush a much needed little securance in the round. But as I say that, overweight, he's been doing this multiple times. He just kind of flies on through, and Menace gets the kill, breaking this one back to a 4v4. Hopefully he can get a little bit more done with this Flores drone.
That kill onto the ace, though, it's going to really change this whole push here from Kunai. They don't have any more exothermic charges as well, so Jacuzzi Breach is not going to get open, meaning that the only way that they attack gym and bedroom is really from cache and CCTV. And when you have the jacuzzi wall open, bathroom is still a playable position, Logi as well. Like, you have a lot of ways that you can shut down this execute or the entry here from Kunai.
Well, here we go. Kunai in a 4v4, but they have lost their hard breach, so it might make life just a little bit more difficult. And it's really hard to see when Demigod is ripping heads. And Hush, just like that, out of the tactical timeout. They found a way back into this one, but hold on, we're not done just yet. Menace, he does have some information on these players, and now everybody knows his position as well. Got a lot to do. It's going to throw the stun, maybe just cause a little bit of panic for this Hush defense, but they know where he is. They have him trapped towards construction. They've got angles every which way. Menace right now, he just has to guess which is which, and that Mira is going to make life hella difficult for anybody trying to get this. Diffuser grabbed. Menace might be able to get out. He does still have some time to work with. 40 seconds, but you do have to clear 3 players. There's the first player. He's going to get control of Logi. The mirror is not going to be his friend for the defense, but Bless is going to get the trade. And despite Menace's best efforts, it is still Hush who was able to close that out. Much needed. It seems like they found some life into that one. And now the question is, do you go back to the basement, which you struggled on, or do you go upstairs to Cash? And it looks like we're going to be heading to basement.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't really like the end of round execute from Kunai. Like, okay, they couldn't open up Jacuzzi Breach. That was gonna make the push a lot harder. You have less angles to work with, less pressure points. You know that the only way you can really push and make an entry happen is by CCTV and Cash, and that you're gonna run straight into Logi. So why don't we have somebody on the Logi hatch, pump some flashes in, and then like have somebody jump down and take that control away from Hush? Instead, the hatch isn't open. Mira plays behind the filing cabinet. She has a direct angle, a really good position to play that she's very safe from, that she's head glitching from. It's a very hard shot to hit, and she completely shuts down the construction push. It wasn't the best of executions in the end from Kunai, who exercised great patience and control in their execute on basement. Didn't really slow themselves down to really think that one through, and now they're going back to basement, which I imagine Hush are going to be making some adjustments too, and that's exactly what I'm seeing with this lineup with the visual in play.
Boss G, the Boss G is out. Let's go. I whatever they said at the halftime break, it was good because they brought out the Boss G. I freaking love that gun. But yeah, this looks much different. We're seeing Legion, Capcan. Oh, and there's a knock as well. That had to be Nyx. However, it's going to cost him his life, and I'd imagine that's going to be a res. I think the observer's like, wait a second, who's taking this early life? But Overweight is gonna make it out. He's already up to 10 kills. But yeah, they got a Vigil. I mean, Mira is really the only operator that is a traditional basement operator. So Hush is throwing everything out. And what looked like a good start with that knock from Nyx, it actually ends up going the way of Kunai. And they're gonna have themselves an early man advantage.
Yeah, and it's a shame for Hush because they really plan to play around this heavy roam game surrounding a lot of information denial with the Visual and the Mozzie. So now that he's gone, they might have to vacate the premises around the second and first floor earlier than they might have expected. And you already see one player rotating out, but it seems like Hush do want to fight for more map control. That's Relax finding the kills for Hush to make it a 4v4. But then 2 kills happen for Kunai. Demented finds the trade. Retro with the follow-up. Unstoppable is down, and Hush is down to a 2v4.
Yeah, Gekyu only has 1 life, and that one's gonna get traded out. But Kunai, they have found themselves a way into this. Bless is in Narnia. Get on your horse, buddy. We've got to get a move on. Yeah, they're never going to expect you to be on the second floor when the site's basement. And now the information is given up. The Jackal is knocked. So it seems like Kunai Strant was just get rid of the roamers. He's going to be traded out. But where's the defuse? Wait, Retro, did he hit a Capcan trap? Oh my goodness. This is why we banned Capcan, folks. I can't stand playing Capcan. So Retro hits the floor. Dexy is going to be planting the diffuser. Hold on. This is actually doable. Bless, does he hear the diffuser? He does not. He's got to go through a wave of drones. But now, it's a 1v3. A lot of players at low health. A lot of work here for Bless to do. And his information is given away, so they know where he is on the retake. Not a lot of time to do so. And the footholds are going to actually benefit the attack this time around. And that's Dexy, who spots the toes of the Hush player. And Kunai, get back in.
Yeah, and it wasn't really the best of rounds from Hush. They lost the early pick on the roam. They were losing out on the trade games as well when they were still trying to consistently fight for map control to make sure they had something to work with. And that makes a lot of sense. You look at their lineup, they don't really have a lot of different opportunities to play sight and hold off or waste time on that push from Kunai. That round really rested on Hush being very successful in the early round, especially with the Visual and the Mozzie and play on the second floor, playing around a lot of information denial. And that makes sense because Kunai have been very good at droning out the map and being very patient with how they want to interact with things. So yeah, you already see like the early round be very dismantled from Hush, and they don't really have an answer back for it apart from trying to buy more aggression and just losing gunfights on the way.
And I think we saw some chaos come from Kunai when they lost their ace on the 1 round they did lose. Because it seemed like, what do we do now? I mean, anybody have an idea? And then that's where Hush was able to find some footing. But I mean, I think the question could be asked if, hey, if you don't take out the ace, it's someone else who dies. Does that still maybe give an idea for that attack to maybe work on the second floor? So really, we could be looking at a 6-0 here, folks. But Hush did find that one round. It's a little bit of a lifeline. But I mean, we saw a round 15 from these guys, and now it's complete dominance from Kunai. It just seems to really be throwing Hush off guard, and I'm curious, are they going to find a solution coming out of that halftime? Because they didn't really after that tactical timeout.
Yeah, I mean, Kunai also won like 2 attacks on Clubhouse. Like, that's actually like really solid. You expect with the game that's like, with the quarter system and the way that it works, you get 3 rounds on the attack, 3 rounds on the defense. So you kind of like switch it out and stuff like that. You expect it to be slightly more balanced, more back and forth. The games are going to be slightly longer. But what you're seeing here is just like a complete mismatch so far. Kunai are outperforming Hush in not only like the kill department, but also in the way that they're working together as a team. And also their lineups are consistently better too. When their lineups are consistently better than Hush's when they were on the attack. Like, so, you know, now you have to look at Hush and say, well, what are we going to do? Because, you know, we had an opportunity for a halftime break for people to chill out and maybe calm down and actually talk to one another. And it does seem like this time around that they are going to make some changes to their lineup. They bring the Thatcher this time around. They didn't bring a Thatcher before. And they've also brought like more hard breach charges as well.
And maybe that's going to be a more conservative push. Like, all right, let's guarantee some of this stuff. They got to get rid of those roamers. I think that was another big problem. Oh, look at this from Gekyu. He is playing a dangerous game. The drone has spotted him, and running down the tunnels he goes. He will get away with his life. But look at what that does. Relax immediately has to worry about that and says, okay, wait, what's going on over here? So he's lucky that he actually did drone that to know that something is up. So Gekyu is still being a trouble right there, but it feels like a very slow offensive push from Hush.
They're just working around the map control, trying to set up the verticals, see what they can work with, opening up the hatches as well, because Kunai have given up this first and second floor. They have opted to not roam this time around, but they are going to be playing up against the only really the Kaid this time around. So getting these hatches open, especially when you have a Thatcher, shouldn't necessarily be too hard for Hush.
Looks like they got taken care of one mirror. That glass is going to be dismantled. No one can see through that black mirror. And it's once again, it's Gekyu. He has just been the thorn in the side of Hush. He's been putting those guys to sleep. He's off to an 11-2 start. What a stellar performance from him. And Nyx is on this hatch. Might be able to catch somebody out towards blue. But every second he stands here waiting for something to happen, it might be just time that's being wasted for this Hush attack. But they have gotten some progress out here. There's still a little bit of time to maybe work something out, but they got to get down to that first floor and start putting yourself into this site. Unstoppable. Does he know exactly where that defender is underneath that hatch? He seems like he's aware of something. Dexy, he's going to be stunned. Here comes the hatch drop, but it's not going to go to anything retro. He's been hiding in the tunnels all game, and now it's all up to Unstoppable. This is a lot for even him to do. He's going to get one. He's going to get the knock, but Trix is going to clean it up before it gets too out of hand. And it's match point for Kunai, and it is well deserved.
Yeah, and that push was always going to be hard when you have the positions retained that Kunai had. They still had utility room for the utility room area. That player could always rotate to church to watch for the hatch drop. And you also have the dirt tunnel player still playing in that position, and he's gonna keep playing that position for the rest of the round because he already killed the buck that was pushing in or that was eyeing up that entry earlier on in the round. So you retain dirt, you still have utility control, you have a way to watch the hatch drop. It doesn't really matter what Hush have, it's what you don't have that matters the most. And they just didn't really have enough control to go for the hatch drop. And I'm wondering, like, what was the circumstances around the buck pushing in so early on with no help down into the dirt tunnel position? Because remember, he had heart breach charges. He did not have flashes to help him go for a push that solo inside of dirt. And so now you see you're staring down the barrel of match point for Hush. 6-1 so far for Kunai, and they look to be stapling or stamping their revenge down today against Hush, who they lost against on Playday 2.
Yeah, I think we have to give a lot of credit to Kunai. They seem to have figured out something to poke at this Hush team. They have a great strategy. They've done a lot of research, and this is kind of the beauty, in my opinion, of Rainbow Six Siege, is that you can outsmart your opponent in your setups, in your bans. And today we're seeing a masterclass of that. And it's just coming down to a perfect team play. Gekyu has been at the forefront of it, 11-2. And now it really does feel like an inevitability that Kunai's not going to win. It's not a question of if Hush can come back. It's about when Kunai can really stamp this one.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Nix,
wait, what's
does he
going on?
know? Does he not hear him? He doesn't hear him, and that's a free pick for Gekku. Nix is just here with no info, going up main stairs with barbed wire on it. And already Hush, they lose 3 bodies, now relaxes down. And you have to imagine that this round is all but over. This game is all but over for Hush. And Kunai might just take this 7-1.
Yeah, the diffuser's down, and it is in a very exposed position. 2 minutes on the clock. Diffuser is, I would imagine, known. And a clash is just so freaking annoying to deal with. They can't get that wall open. You got no breach, so good luck. Try a different way of attack. Yeah, I mean, props to Kunai. This is absolutely a masterclass of Clubhouse. The bands caught out everyone on Hush. They just did not really know what to do. There's some different strategies. Bless is now, there is a streak of brown running down his leg as he enters the bathroom. And Unstoppable, he's got a lot of work to do. He's got nomads and stuns. Let's see what you can cook up, buddy. 1 stun out, 2 stun out, 1 nomad out. A little loop-de-loop around the server. Here comes some electricity. Call him Electro the way he's getting pulsed up. The collapse is gonna come through. A flawless round, almost a flawless performance. And that is just gonna put a deep nail into Hush. And boy, oh boy, what a turnaround in Group B here. What was an electric match between these teams has now just turned into a, wait a, hold on a minute here, because that was a statement win from Kunai.
The statement win for Kunai. It's a statement loss for Hush for sure, because there were a lot of things that just went wrong on Clubhouse for Hush. Like strategically, fundamentally, just everything went wrong on Clubhouse that could have gone wrong, and that's why the game ended the way that it did. Kunai played much better together as a team. They had better fundamentals. They were just playing off of each other more. And when you look at Clubhouse as a map, it's a strategically sound map, yes. It really depends on like your teamwork with one another. If you have better teamwork than the other team, you're going to win, like how Kunai won today, and that's exactly what happens. And so Hush are officially handed their first loss of the season. They don't get an OT loss. They don't get an OT win. They get a regulation loss that stamped for the rest of the BGS season 7-1 for Kunai.
Yeah, that's a statement right there coming from Kunai. And now, as you're looking through this, I mean, Gekyu, we played 7 rounds? Yeah, 7 rounds, and he had 13 kills. 13 kills in 7 rounds is insane. The dude was just everywhere, living rent-free in their head. So congratulations to Kunai, as they really marked themselves now in BGS as a contender and not a pretender. But we do have one more game coming up for the day. However, it is going to take a little bit of a time, because the Fluffy game was supposed to be the next one, but with a rescheduling here, we are going to have to wait for Phantom Legions versus Zomblers. So do stick around for that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is scheduled for 9 o'clock Eastern. So do set your timers to that one. Maybe set an alarm. You can go step away, use the restroom, maybe catch up on the new Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, whatever it's called, episode. So you do have some time to wind down, but get right back. We'll be ready with Phantom Legion versus Zomblers after this extended break.
we never get. Wanna be delivered to the I wanna be delivered to the heart.
My head in my hands, listen up, says my teacher. In front of the class, he says if you're not a believer, I've views, that's on you. Better shape up and pay your dues. Of my views, that's on you. I'll be on a flight soon to Vienna singing, ooh. Gotta know all this propaganda, how do you do? Better get it with my own medicine for you. Never gonna make them think I'll stand there. For all the things that I've said, pushing me closer to the edge. And I don't know let loose, don't mind if I do. For all the things that I've said, pushing me closer to the edge. And I don't know let loose, don't mind if I do. Free as the wind and as strong as a piece of amber. Give me a breath like the fire you'll soon remember. Ooh. I'll be on a flight soon to the end. I'm singing, ooh. Gotta know all this propaganda, how do you do? For all the things that I've said, pushing me closer to the edge. And I don't know let loose, don't mind if I do. For all the things that I've said, pushing me closer to the edge. And I don't know let loose, don't mind if I do.
ready for this.
Just want to be myself. Don't talk to nobody else. I want to be someone special. I don't want to be a typical person. To get away from my devil. Start from fresh with a fundamental. I feel it right. 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 I'm learning how to be a better version of you. And now I realize I'm talking to myself. Doesn't really need to be forever. Doesn't make you feel better. I feel it right. 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 Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. I feel it. I feel it right. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. Wanna feel it. Look me with your pretty eyes and run with me, yeah. 'Cause you and I are the secret. Feel my drift against your skin. 'Cause honestly, yeah, let's hold our breath. This is so real. Just you and me, let's escape, girl, tonight. Look me with your pretty eyes and run with me, yeah. 'Cause you and I are the secret. Feel my drift against your skin. 'Cause honestly, yeah, let's hold our breath. This is so real. Just you and me, let's escape, girl, tonight.
Feelings, it's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed in. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces. sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Ooh, you take me higher. You take me higher, baby. You take me higher. You take me higher, baby. You take me higher. You take me higher, baby. You take me higher. Yeah, you take me higher, baby.
This is how I like it. This is how I like it. My city's good to tell you the tale. Everyone was left in the veil. My time won't come to an end. Take a look around, it's a war zone. The damage is already done. Take a look around, it's a war zone. The damage is already done. Take a look around. And keep your guns high. It's a war zone. It's a war zone. And I'll be fighting for my life, so keep your guns high. It's a war zone. It's a war zone. And I'll be fighting. I'm bad to the bone. Got blood on my knees. I'm bad for my life, I'm fighting. Yeah, I'm bad to the bone. Got blood on my knees. flames keep burning out. No, you won't hear a sound. The screaming bottled within. Take a look around and keep your guns high. It's a war zone. It's a war zone, and I'll be fighting for my life. So keep your guns high. It's a war zone. It's a war zone, and I'll be fighting.
Welcome back, everybody. I said you can go maybe watch House of the Dragon if you haven't, but well, we're like that. I guess these teams were ready to go, so we're gonna get the ball rolling here. We've got Group A, and this is kind of the top spot right now. Aerial Arise hasn't played, so this is both of these teams are tied with 3 points. We've got Phantom Legion taking on the Zomblers here in our last series of the day before we get into much more action throughout the week. We just saw Kunai take a statement win, Chaka, and now as we come into this one, there are some interesting things happening before the game even begins. We see map bans, but this is a lot of pressure riding on, and with Aerial Arise kind of waiting in the shadows, you do feel like if you don't win this, you're looking at the bottom half of these standings.
Yeah, both Phantom Legion and Zomblers are coming into this game hoping to win as many games as possible before Aerial Rise come into the picture and start to play their games, because remember, Aerial Rise hasn't officially played a game in BGS so far, and so that gives Phantom Legion and Zomblers time as well as games to play, because they've actually played more games than Aerial Rise. And for Phantom Legion and Zomblers, they both have one thing in common. They've played the same team, they've won against that same team, and they have the exact same scoreline.
Yeah, the only thing different, and that's 1 HP that both of these teams have beaten, that's the only game they played, is the maps. They both won those games 7-4. Let's go ahead and take a look at the roster. But yeah, I mean, 1 HP has kind of been at the beating end of the stick. And so, I mean, yes, they're different maps, but really, is there anything too different to look at this? Can you take too much out of that game? And as we look at our lineup, Shaka, Jordan's going to be subbing in for the Zomblers. That's their coach who's going to be subbing in. From my understanding, this is like a last-minute sub. This wasn't really like a planned substitution. So that is, the alarms are kind of ringing on that front. And there are some big names on the side of Phantom Legion. Trevmac, Valeno, to just say a few. This does feel like Zomblers is on a disadvantage just with that sub alone. But who knows? I mean, we just saw craziness in that last game. We were not expecting it to be that chaotic and that big of a statement. And then that's just Blitz Gaming for you. You never really know what's going to happen. Things can just happen like that.
And now we transition over to the map bans, some goofiness with the graphics, but that's completely fine. We're going to end up on a border between Zomblers and Phantom Legion, and I'm not too sure how to feel about that map. I think for both teams, they both played Cafe and Bang. I can't quite remember what the maps were against their games against 1 HP. Clubhouse was banned last by Phantom Legion. That makes a lot of sense. Phantom Legion, with the players that they have on that roster, strike me as a team that's quite aggressive. And so now they put themselves on Border, a map that suits that aggression. I kind of like that for them. I feel like it fits them.
So the Zomblers played on Clubhouse in their first game, or when they beat 1HP. And let me go see what Phantom Legion won. They won on Chalet. And I mean, now we go to Border, so I mean, things are different, and that has been kind of the thing. What can you really take out of this? We're not going to see any of those maps. These guys are going to be going head to head, and this is currently for the top spot of Group A, but I think everyone's kind of saving that spot preemptively for Aerial Arise, who we've been waiting with their business to be finishing up towards Element. And we're going to be seeing them in action this week. And you know, just as soon as these guys get in, problems are going to happen.
Yeah, I wonder what the bans are going to look like, right? Because in the game between Kunai and Hush, we had some pretty funky bans, not really on the defensive side, but more so on the attacker side. It was Hibana, and then it was, I can't remember who the last one was. I think it was
there was no Monty ban, which was the... Yeah. We didn't see Monty, but Monty has been such a common ban. Is it going to happen? No, we're going to be potentially seeing Monty. I don't know. I mean, that has been a very consistent ban, but in our last game, not banned, not used. We actually saw Clash, actually, which was a little striking. And that really played in the favor of Kunai. They had the advantage in the maps. They had advantage in the operator bans. So far, this does look a little bit more standard. Once again, the Monty is on the board. Valkyrie has been another very common ban from the defender side. Phantom Legion is going to get an opportunity to ban it. Will they do so? Mira. So we will see a Valkyrie. We're going to see. Yeah. We're going to see a Monty make it through. So that will it come into play though? I mean, we thought we were going to see a Monty last game. Didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't see why Monty was left up in the last game. It's probably a waste of a ban slot between Kunai and Hush, because I don't really know anybody on either team apart from maybe Nyx, but Nyx doesn't consistently run a Monty. So I think that's the thinking here, is that, well, there's not really a lot of people that you can see on either side who's going to pick the Monty first off, or who have really gotten into the groove of like, okay, Monty's probably the best operator when he's left up on the board. So yeah, Monty's gonna persist, and I wonder if when Phantom Legion go on air attack, if maybe Trevmac is going to pick into the Monty, because I know he's played a couple of shields before. It's gonna be pretty interesting to see. But Phantom Legion to start off on a defense, they play into the secondary site of lockers and archives, and I mean, with a lot of information retained here for defense, because the Valkyrie isn't banned, you still have the Maestro cameras up here that can lock down a lot of the entrances, and you're going to really be looking over to not only the Maestro, but also the Melusi as well, to help you lock down some of the entry points around the map.
It is currently the top spot up for grabs in the early stages of Group A for both of these teams. A win would be so much after beating up 1 HP for both of these teams, winning 7-4. We now head to Border. Zomblers do have the subs. Keep an eye on Jarden, he's on the Grim right now. Can he be a difference maker for the Zomblers team? And there's so many known names on this Phantom Legion team. You would imagine that somebody is going to step up to this, not disabled team, but this lesser, weaker side, you might say. But who knows? Maybe Jarden will come in and spoil the party.
Already an emphasis here from Zomblers to play around this first floor. They have the Buck to help them remove power positions, specifically maybe around the half wall. You have Fountain that you can clear. You have some of the positions around archives, namely right on the hatch behind the archives desk that can be used as a power position to help you combat an archives execute. But it already seems like damage has been done to this first floor setup from Zomblers, and they're already having some issues when it comes to trying to set up for vertical play.
Well, Fire's on 3 HP, and Perseus is trying to cause some chaos from underneath. However, he just can't get those final shots to go. Still, good health pool from Phantom Legion. This time has been relatively slow, and the Maestro is going to be a very interesting pick. Not the most common operator, but still can be very tricky to work against if you're an attack when it's properly used. And now the very difficult thing about a second floor hold is for attackers is just trying to get into the site. We're seeing Jarden already using multiple Grims just to get inside, and it looks like Epic is going to swing on over. So the information is going to be known for both of these players, but he goes right into it, flurries a B, and he gets stung right out of security. And now the Zomblers attack. Here it comes. Fire is still on 3 HP, but there's only 3 players remaining for Phantom Legion. 50 seconds on the clock, and they're just struggling to get inside. Is there going to be any way that they make their way into the site and make their presence felt? Cordell, he's hanging over towards this rappel, but there's not a lot of time. There's not a real method to get into this site, but still, you do have the numbers. You got to get inside. Now there's 2 players remaining. Just, you can probably start walking in. They have some first floor control. You got to hold it down. It's going to be Valeno and Rival on the defense to try and get this one done. A lot to go this way of the offense, but there's not a lot of time, and they've got to make up some ground. They're still playing this rappel. That's Cordell who's trying to find something. But here comes the Dokkaebi tracks, and now it's all down to Valeno. He does get one, but still a lot to do. The clock is going to be the biggest factor. That's 8 seconds, and that's Diffuser. But no, just as it got a little bit spicy, in comes the milk to put that Tang in the mouth of the defense out, and it's going to be an offensive win. That one got a little hairy, but good job from the Zomblers as they put some pressure with those Grimbies.
Yep, they also had like really good control going down below that really disabled that security position that the Malusi was trying to play in and out of. And if you have that security positioned in your control, if you can like play it properly like the Malusi was trying to do, you can deny the break room entry, you can deny the window hop in. There's a lot of things that you can deny, and with the vertical control that was established from Zomblers, it made that position impossible to play in. And then they got the follow-up kill onto the Maestro playing in sight as well, and so that freed up a lot of space. But Zomblers didn't attack that almost immediately, and that could have been their downfall because they didn't really take immediate control. They were being like really patient. Time was getting low, about 15 seconds left on the clock, and you kind of saw an opportunity for maybe Phantom Legion to fight their way back in. They just lost too many bodies in the process in that early round.
It's gonna be second floor one more time for Phantom Legion. Maybe they can fix something up. I think they got to have some more security presence. I mean, you saw them try to dart across that open space over towards it.
I don't know why.
But it didn't really work. He ran right into bees, and they just caught out immediately. So what's going to be the adjustment for this defense to maybe try and get it? There's an aggressive spawn peek there from Valeno as he went walking outside that door. So it's going to slow this attack down, but there's going to be a glass. That's interesting. So Flixer's going to bring that out. This looks like a rush attack for me.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like Zomblers are going for the same thing. They may think that Phantom Legion are going to hard counter what they did because it was so effective. So instead, what they do is go for a more aggressive lineup. Instead of wanting to take their time, they're going for a more, not time constraining setup, but more of a rush style setup where they're going to be trying to rush into this setup that Phantom Legion have over by the security position. But they're going to be met head on with the Warden, but also these mute jammers that's going to give them a lot of trouble with their information gathering.
Trev's got a big C4. This might be able to beat the dagger on this attack before anything really happens. He is waiting in the wings to throw this, but he's just going to slow it down. He's playing on sound cues. Any information that his team can give him or anything that he gets through his headset is massive. There it goes. C4 out. Ooh, the flash just barely survived that one. The blitz is just going to be at 50 HP, but the Finka is going to bring that right back on up to 58 HP. And now here comes the charge, and it's going to get shut down immediately. As I say that, though, Valeno drops as well. It's still Trevmac is trying to hold, but no! Immediately, a collapse comes through, and now all hell is breaking loose. There's only 2 players remaining for Phantom Legion. They've got a Lion Scan. They're freezing them in place. Here comes Epic with the swing. He still has some presence over to this side of the map. He's might be able to cause some damage. There's one. He's going to swing. He's feeling the heat, and now the sides are kind of switched. Epic now controls the outer area. The offense is now inside. He's just going to completely go back into their spawn. What's going on over here? And he has an impact in his back pocket, but Perseus is going to shut that one down. The Finka is going to come through, and now it's a 1v2 for Rival. 50 seconds on the clock. There's some pressure over towards the side of the B bomb site. Rival, he has the angle. The stun's going to come through, forcing him to back down, but he's going to immediately reclaim that. 1v1. Where is the other offensive player is the question. Where is the support for Zombies? You can see him being slow. He's trying to wait for backup, but Fire doesn't need it. Rival drops, and it's another offensive win after a very chaotic collapse over towards the control, or excuse me, the security side. That looked dicey for either way. And now, as we look at this here, a great offensive round for Zomblers. They were able to just get away. There was smokes, there was a blitz. It was just a little bit chaotic. And now that's going to kind of force Phantom Legion to rethink what's going to happen here. And that's going to be in for a first floor defense. Nothing crazy for Phantom Legion on their operator selections. What are we going to see from Zomblers? Are they going to switch it up? We just saw a very high pace octane offense happen. Is it going to be something more slow, methodical? And there it is, folks. The Monty is going to be brought out. Cordell is going to switch on over to that. And now that's going to be the conversation. Is it going to be a first floor where we do see a Monty more used? And it looks like Zomblers is going to let to use that. A lot of pressure coming on the Phantom Legion right now. Yes, this is an offensive favored map, but you do expect to win that second floor. So far, they've been struggling, and Zomblers are really good at taking ground.
Be seeing if Phantom Legion can deny some of the map control, especially with the lineup that they do have for us here. Goyo is going to make it pretty hard to execute on site or even on the top floor, depending on where those Goyo canisters are placed. Plus, you have the castle to close off a lot of the window angles as well that can be used to slice this second floor around, in half is a good way to describe it instead of whatever word I was going to use. But it seems like already Zomblers are going to be angling towards this second floor pressure. They don't really have much software though in order to help them make vertical in the case that they do gain this control.
Yeah, I mean, Phantom Legion, they seem to be kind of out of ideas, and you see it with that first floor setup. But the Monty is really where the eyes are going to be. When you don't see it banned, you do expect it to be coming through, and finally we're going to be seeing it after we saw none of it from that first game. Cordell will be the player to try and cause some player, and it's all about that vertical play. What can you get from upstairs and find your way out? Cordell is making a lot of noise with that proximity alarm. They're finally going to take care of that, but Phantom Legion's aware of what's going on.
All you need to do is just open the castle barricade adjacent to the Monty that was across from him. Otherwise, he almost got swan gun from the office position just because he was so isolated and vulnerable for the time that he had when he was turning around. Trent McDowell down below is going to find a nitro cell that wasn't down below. It was actually on the top floor, and it happens to be on the floor as it was applying pressure on the opposite side of where the Monty is at. So that removes a lot of pressure here for Phantom against Phantom Legion, and now they have a lot more space to play considerably, especially against this East Stairs take that Zomblers are trying to do.
I believe, no, so Fire has one more Lion scan. Flixer, he's going to come back alive and find that kill. He's leading the lobby in terms of slaying. But as soon as Phantom Legion finds something, it just gets instantly traded out. So right now, Zomblers are kind of struggling. It seems to be the first floor is where Phantom Legion is finding their hold. The ace is now knocked. Epic, this is going to be a close range gunfight. Who's going to take this one here? If he peeps, hey, I was going to say if he peeps a hair, he might get it taken away. And is that a not going both ways? No, Epic's going to survive to tell the tale. Flixer's going to hit the floor, and now there's only 2 attackers remaining. The Monty is going to cause some trouble, pulling out the pistol. How much ammo does he really have to work with? Can't really tell with the new HUD overlay, but he has been letting that pistol whip for a good bit. His ace teammate is down to 20 HP. 18 seconds left. The diffuser is in the hand of the Monty, but you got to get in towards sight. They have this hatch. Here comes the play. They're going to have to drop this soon. I think the smoke might have missed, but it's not going to matter. React. He's opening up the door. He's got the shotgun. And surprise, surprise, the hatch is mine. It's not going to go the way of the Phantom, or excuse me, the Zomblers for a third round. Phantom Legion stands strong, and that if you think if there's going to be a site where you don't win, it would be first floor when you leave the second floor. But I guess Phantom Legion, they found their footing on the non-expected site.
To be fair, they were able to really effectively pause that entry from Zomblers quite well. They were able to use the castle barricades in order to cut off a lot of angles. Floors wasn't really much of a factor inside of that round for whatever reason. Could be because of the mute jammers placed around the second floor, but otherwise castle barricades still stood up. Phantom Legion, or Zomblers rather, had a very hard time in clearing the second floor effectively. They had less angles to work with. They were much more isolated than they usually would be had the castle not been there. And it was a good adjustment from Phantom Legion to bring some emphasis on just closing down the window angles when in the previous 2 rounds before that third round happened, those were the angles that gave them a lot of trouble, especially when it came to holding down power positions. And now on the attack, there's not going to be a Monty that's being stuck here, but they are going to bring the buck like Zomblers did in the very first round.
This is interesting, Chaka. This seems to be the day of the clash, and Jared, and the substitute coach, is going to be rocking it out. Now, will this catch out Phantom Legion potentially? This seems to be a very standard operator selection from our attackers, but as for the defenders here, I'm looking at Smoke, Tachanka, a lot of time denial from those guys, and also picking the clash. Very interesting. What's going to be the strategy for Zomblers?
Time waste util, like you mentioned. Like, Clash is here to waste time. She's here to directly challenge a Monty specifically. If it was picked by Phantom Legion, but it isn't, you have the Smoke to play in the middle of Archives, just behind the desk, right next to the hatch, and really deny the entry from the Archives door and also from Bus window too. And then the same thing is the case here for Tachanka, but apart from it being an Archive, it's going to be in lockers. So Phantom Legion are going to have a tough time executing, especially if they can't really find a way around a lot of this utility that Zomblers had set up for them.
Well, Rival has gotten into security, so there has been some second floor claimed. And that wall is going to be so difficult. Electric wall. I don't think Valeno got anything with that Flores drone. And here comes some time wasting from Perseus. He's going to make life so difficult for those Phantom attackers. And it's going to be even more difficult as React. That's your hard breach. That is gone. Sayonara. So that electric wall is just, there's no way that thing's going to be open. Any hard wall is going to be that much more difficult. So now what is it going to be looking like? Now you're just trying to walk into fire, smoke, and electrocution. And they just need water, and Zombler has like all of the elements to try and shut down any attack that Phantom Legion brings out. Yeah, Epic sees the clash. Doesn't matter too much. Are they going to have any tomfoolery? Oh, well, I say that.
Yeah.
Jared's going to drop. They're going to be able to take out the substitute. A minute left on the clock. But still, what is going to be your goal here? You've got no ace to really work with. The Grims are going to be coming out, and it looks like the execution is looming. But the Tachanka is going to be denying so much time. But Valeno finds fire, and now Phantom Legion. It seems that the second floor is going to be made for offense today. Rival finds another. It's all down to Cordell and Flix. Cordell's going to use a smoke canister, but he's being stunned out. The diffuser's going down. Flixer does find Valeno, so hold on a second. The diffuser's down. The smokes are out. Trev with a double kill, and now it's all down to Cordell to try and clutch around 38 seconds to get some work done on this diffuser, and they've left the bomb site. They can just hold and await for him to try and defuse it. A lot to do for Cordell. Doesn't have any more smoke to do. What's going to be the play here? Oh, he knows somebody's on the first floor. Takes care of him. So Trev is shut down. He was on a double kill. And he's puts in chat, good kill. I mean, there's so much work to do. He's going to have to swing and immediately get kills. And still have time for the defuse. Can't get not just one. He's going to get 0. I mean, he had to get 2 kills. You just swing 1. Very difficult start. But yeah, so far, Chaka, offensive success has been the key. And who knows? I mean, maybe second floor is going to be the more difficult one. Yeah, we're seeing Zomblers. They're going to switch up and go first floor.
Yeah, I mean, second floor is always just very well telegraphed by the attack. There's not really many good positions that you can play, especially if you do what Phantom Legion did on their attack, which was, okay, well, we can't really just muscle our way inside of sight. There's a shield in the small office. Tachanka is right on the bomb chassis, and he's denying our entry with the fires. So what they do is they send Trepmech down below. These are very easily telegraphed positions that both the Tachanka and the Wamai are playing in, and you just have them kill the Tachanka first, and it makes the entry so much better. And I like the way that not only did they go for that down below control, so they split some players off away from each other to apply different points of pressure, but they also did that for their second floor push as well. Somebody pushed down 90 to apply pressure towards the Beeper's position and also Fountain, and that really made everything so much more difficult for Zomblers. They played a very condensed defense, heavily surrounding their time delay utility, and because they played so condensed around each other, it was just so easy to pinch them out and kill them because Phantom Legion have no pressure being applied to them.
And you said it's kind of telegraphed. We saw Trevmac talking some smack about the strategy, like, hey, That was pretty easy to read, and so like you said it, and it immediately translated from what Trev just put in the chat. And he's talking some smack as well. I mean, he was like, "Oh, nice kill," kind of mocking the strategy, because I mean, it was a difficult round in that 1v3 post-plant scenario for the Zomblers. Nothing's going to be found from Valeno, I believe. He might have grabbed something towards the end, but he's going to go right back to the well with this Flores drone. And the first floor so far, it's been looking better for the attacks, for the defense, which is not typical. However, these defenses are a little bit easier to read. No one's really trying anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah, 2 Flores drones go out. They don't destroy a single BP, so I'm assuming that they're probably... One of them is in the second floor, so I'm assuming there's probably another second floor BP up here just to give Zomblers a lot more information to play around. But again, they've further condensed themselves around the second floor. It's going to give Phantom Legion an opportunity to set themselves up to further pinch these roamers out. And they're applying pressure from a lot of different positions, security, 90 hall, everything to further make this defense uncomfortable. The only position that I don't really see that's really covered here by Phantom Legion is the armory position. So that may be something that they look to change as the seconds go by.
Yeah, they've got some vertical control, but nothing too crazy. Flixer is waiting for a hatch drop or something above him. He's hanging out below security. Valeno gets the first kill, and hold on, it might be a turn of the tides. A great start for Zomblers is now immediately seeing Phantom Legion rip off 2 rounds, and now they've got kills as well here in round 5. Rival finds Perseus. Flixer has been waiting on that first floor. He's going to get rewarded by finding Valeno. Valeno's been dropping early in these rounds. Trev will find Cordell. They know roughly where Flixer is. He's actually on low health as well. Jarden is grouped up with him. So now it's just going to be an onslaught from above. There's 40 seconds left. Oh, this is an interesting call. So both Jarden and Flixer are evacuating the site. It looks like there's going to be a pinch coming in from one of these defenders. Flixer, he's just been tasked like, hey, buddy, you're probably screwed. So just deny as much time as you can and hope for the best. He's now getting rained in from above. There's a ram coming in, and he's going to get a important kill. But all eyes are on Jarden, what he can do upstairs. He's going to drop. It's going to put all the pressure onto the bandit that's downstairs. Hold on a second. This would be for the AIDS, but Trev Mack awakens at the perfect time, secures the offensive round, and gives Phantom Legion their first lead.
And it's another great attack from Phantom Legion. The top 4 roam clear was pretty effective in terms of like how they were able to do it. Good information plus the flashbangs made it so much harder to play around that second floor area, plus the control that Phantom Legion was able to get so early on in that round too. And again, they're playing with this very condensed defense on the second floor, and they're not really giving themselves much freedom to move around and play aggressively or even challenge Phantom Legion effectively on that second floor clear. And when you don't have a warden as well on that top floor, you can't really counter the flashes as effectively, and you also don't have a Mai or Jaeger, so it made the flashes that much easier to use for Phantom Legion and that much easier to play behind.
Now that looked like a technical pause, not a scheduled timeout, because Zomblers are now on that back foot. They start off well, winning those 2 attacks on that second floor. And then once we saw that first floor, it's been really downhill for Zomblers. It seems to me like when security has been given up kind of easily from these defenses, that is when the magic happens for these offenses. They're able to kind of suffocate that fountain area, clear that out, and then just let it rain from above. And yes, the defense did get some kills towards the end for Zomblers, but in the end, there was just far too superior of a numbers advantage for Phantom Legion, and they were just able to get him zoned out and get that final kill that they needed.
Yeah, and it was always gonna be hard towards the end of that round for Zomblers to be able to win it because of the vertical control that was established by Phantom Legion. And you saw the idea from Zomblers to try and play in the extended positions just outside of the site to hold on to it slightly easier and denied the entry from Phantom Legion towards the end. But that was just always going to be hard with the vertical angles that was established. I mean, you saw the bandit, he had to peek up and he did get a kill for it, but then he couldn't really get a kill on a hatch drop neither because there was just so much to focus on. Did a very good job then towards the end to individualize his gunfights and take them quite well, but it was just always going to be hard with that top 4 control that Phantom Legion got control of.
And Valeno has been dying kind of early in some of these fights, and Trev Mack has been one of these key players. It looks like we're going to have to be going to a break, but when we return, we will have the rest of our matchups, so don't go anywhere. We shouldn't be too long, although the last time I said that, I said we're going to be a long time. It was quick. Maybe I think, hey, we'll be quick. Now it will be a long time. But don't go anywhere. We've got more Blitz Gaming coming to your screen after this break.
Came in and you're looking like a sign of grace. I know, but I can never match your name to face my fault. I didn't notice it was out of place. You painting fairy tales on the wall. Calling to the better of the halves of me. Please show me just a little bit of honesty. I'd hope I got a heart that I can salvage, but it's getting harder now to recall. I know well what let out both dry. You could have anything you wanted it all for your fool's gold. And I know well why deaf and half blind. You could get anything you wanted. Yeah, I would have handed it all over, falling for you. Came in and you're looking like a sign of grace. I know, but I can never match your name to face my fault. But when I noticed it was far too late, you left a fingerprint on my soul. Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Yeah. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you?
Alrighty, folks, we are back underway. We had a technical pause. I believe it was Perseus. He had to do an internet restart. Hopefully he's all good and dandy, and I think Zomblers kind of need it. You know, maybe that was a little bit what's going on. Perseus just needs to get better at internet. But we're going to be on round 6. We're going to be seeing a complete site change up for Zomblers. We are going to be seeing another first floor site. Nothing too crazy. There's the Maestro. What's kind of catching your eye here with our operator selections for either team?
Nothing really. I mean, it's Zomblers. It's another first floor site, like you mentioned. Another second floor hold from Zomblers. They're playing around a lot of information utility, barbed wire, Legion mines, and also the Maestro cameras that will mostly be centered around like the site area. But also, I did see one on the second floor too. So that's probably going to help Zomblers when it comes to them maybe giving up second floor control at some point if Phantom Legion don't really deal with that Maestro camera or notice it first on. But they are going to be angling towards the second floor attack. They have the ace to help them with that fact, and maybe you'll push the ace towards like a more bathroom push. But yeah, it looks like they do want to try and get this second floor control pretty early.
Yeah, it's just about like how much time you give yourself to then go to the first floor. Like how much do you have to divide into this? There's a lot of emphasis from Zomblers. I think they have at least 3 upstairs. So the majority of their team is trying to defend above. They maybe have like 1, 2 players downstairs. I think they'll really only have 1. So for Phantom Legion, it's just about getting second floor control, and how you're gonna do that. And this wall, not having that wall prepped or hard walled or anything is huge, because you can get such a massive sight line to a lot of the second floor.
No, they have it reinforced. That's why they use the MP for the jammer on the bottom part of that wall. Otherwise, I would agree with you. You shouldn't really leave that wall soft if you have a second floor setup. And a felt nitro cell doesn't really reach anything. Everybody's fine and dandy on the Phantom Legion side, but you have rival going in for an entry towards.
Oh, those are some great Grims coming in from Epic. He's going to find one of the players, and a host of Legion mines is for Rival's feet. He steps on one. He's going to be dropped down to 45 HP. But look at it. The numbers go the way of Phantom Legion. There's still a good amount of time. I see you sitting on the desk, but he's going to be traded out. That's Valeno, who finally gets the ball rolling a little bit. He has been a little slow up to his regular standards. And now it's all kind of down to Flixer. It looks like Jardin's in on the pinch. The substitute coach has to make the play. Do they know his position? Well, it's been given away there. Trevmac grabs one, finds the other, and he's been the closer in these rounds, Trev. And now it's Phantom Legion, who I think are starting to reassert their dominance.
Round 1 and lost on that second floor. It was pretty easy for Phantom Legion to get that control once they opened up that archives wall, which cut that second floor in half. And it not only cut the second floor in half, it made it harder to really sit in any armory positions that you have available to you as a defense. But you also have no way of really supporting the Fountain player. Grim Bees confirmed that there was somebody in Fountain. You have Rival, who's really, really confident in his gun skill, and he's also playing the Ash with a good gun. He pushes in, takes that control, and then it makes it also easier to then deny the drop off from the Mute, who's then trying to rotate back to site. And so now you're stuck in an ever-ending loop for I had a brain fart. For Zomblers, as soon as they lost so many bodies on that second floor, they kept trying to retake it, but you already really have Phantom Legion in really good positions to cut them off as soon as they try that.
And the execute was great. I mean, once those Grim Bees came in, it was like, what do we do? Zomblers just fell onto the floor. They got caught with their pants down, and there's really nothing they could do. It was a complete collapse, and it was a beautiful execution. They knew what they wanted to do, Phantom Legion. And after a hot start from Zomblers, it's now this conversation of, okay, Phantom Legion, we see you. Going back to the first floor, it's going to be ventilation once again. This is interesting. It seems like second floor is some sort of toxic place that nobody really wants to go.
Yeah,
Boss
I mean,
G. Sorry,
again,
I just saw Boss G. Let's go.
I mean, it's more common, especially with visual being picked. I noticed that when Dokkaebi is being picked sometimes people like opt to not choose the MK14 and pick the Boss G instead. So I mean, that's pretty cool. It's always fun to see the Boss G. But yeah, on to the point that you're talking about second floor, nobody really wants to play it, and that's primarily true for like a couple of reasons. One of them mainly, and this is mainly the primary reason as to why, second floor is very telegraphed. Everybody knows how to play it. It's a very hard site to hold, and if like it's just very hard to hold, especially once you get like vertical control. And if you don't want to sit there and like maybe hold the first floor for so long, you probably don't want to play the second floor, and that makes a lot of sense for Phantom Legion to not pick into that site anymore. They've lost it twice in a row when they were defending it, but they still have to hold on to the second floor because they are defending Ventilation Workshop.
It seems actually they're actually trying to get some progress done on the first floor before they begin to worry about the upstairs motion. You're seeing a lot of drone work coming in from Zomblers. They put some pressure onto the corner, opening up that wall, and we haven't really seen anybody gauge for a second floor. Oh, and they found the player that is playing downstairs. Now, what's going to be the call? We're finally going to be seeing somebody try and maybe play upstairs. It's Jarden, who's grappling up. And now it looks like Zomblers is going to return back to a more normal approach, going for the second floor. But it's about getting security control. How early can he do so? Ooh, Flixer is actually very close, finding an opening blood through the wall. But it's going to be Fire who takes a first jab at it. Volano's going to drop. 5v4, man advantage to the Zomblers. They're still really yet to get any meaningful progress, but they've got the kill.
And that's going to help make it easier to now go for the rest of the second floor pressure because you have considerably less players holding it this time around. You also have pressure being applied towards the bus window that's from the Ash of Cordell, and that's going to really pull a lot of attention from the security side from the defense because they have to make sure that they don't overexpose themselves to this bus window player.
And on the clock, Zomblers has been very slow, even though they do have that opening pick. They still got to get control of the second floor and then worry about getting the plant down. But here they come. They kind of just walk up right on through for free. Fire finds one. He can't snap onto the other. Trev comes alive once again. He has been the player in the clutch moments. It's a 2v3, but Trev is still standing tall. That's a knock. That's not a kill. I thought that one was going to go through. Is the res going to come through? Trev is going to back off and take a deeper angle. He does have a great weapon to do so. The res is coming through for Zomblers. There is a player on the first floor, but where's React? Is he going to help him out on the floor below? I think Trev has been tasked with dealing with upstairs, and React has been given the task of downstairs. But as I say that, Trev is going to make a rotation. He's going to punch open a hole. Here comes React towards the stairs. Nomad's going to hit him and give his position away. Hasta luego, buddy. What do you have, Trev, to maybe take your team to a 5-2 lead? This is a much important round. The diffuser's going down. Oh, the ping's coming through. He's trying to wall bang, but just can't get it. That's going to be the dagger, most likely. We don't even need the diffuser. Flixer finds the final kill, despite the best efforts of Trev. And a 4-3 score is much better than a 5-2. Crucial offensive win there from Zomblers.
And I like the way that they did it. They made a lot of movement around the second floor. It looked like they were going for a direct site take, but they realized because of the vertical angles, there's also one player inside of sight, so they couldn't effectively rush in from customs. Especially when you have the archives hatch open, you have no flashes being placed around the second floor positions to really make that rush work the way that you want it to. So instead, they just opt for a second floor clear. I like the way that they isolated certain positions in order to make that push quite effective, and they did it together as a team. You saw like two players swing together into the archives position. The only player playing there was the Bandit, and then that gave the cue for the bus window player to jump into archives to take his one with Trev. And although that player couldn't really effectively get the kill onto Trev was very much isolated in archives. His position really had no influence for the rest of that round from Zomblers, who then made it a fact that once they got the second floor control over by lockers, they just go for a plant, and it went home from there. This game has gone back and forth between both teams, and I'm excited for it because like I don't really like one-sided games with the game that we just got between Kunai and Hush. So this one is a nice change of pace.
Yeah, much needed breath of fresh air, as we can't really decipher which team is stronger. Phantom Legion did have that spurt, but now Zomblers are slowly pulling this one back, and it's going to be on the second floor this time around for Phantom Legion. But we saw those Maestro cams from React. He's putting a lot of emphasis on getting control of the bomb site with two cameras pretty much next to each other, making sure that nothing is going to happen, no funny business. But they've also got a Valkyrie, so a lot of information to be gained for this defense, and nothing really too crazy on the side of Zomblers. I think everything so far is pretty standard in the operator selection.
Yeah, again, they are going for a heavy first floor presence. And there's not really much combating this from Phantom Legion. Originally, React was playing around the main stairs area, so you may see him go down for a flank because he's playing close to the Beeper's position. But really, they don't have a lot riding onto this first floor pressure, and that may just pose a problem for these second floor players that are playing on a very heavy vertical site like this second floor. And so with the buck down below plus the Deimos, you're really going to be tiptoeing around everywhere because you just have no safe place to stand on.
There's still a lot of work to do for Zomblers. They've gotten a little bit of control towards security, not really. They're slowly making their way in, and it looks like the drone work has just not been in their favor. They are not really to get in a strong idea of what they need to do. They've got to make some progress and get close for an execute. And they are sniffing it. The drone work is now coming in. They found multiple players' locations. Rival seems to be the player in particular focus.
And it seems like a couple players have also taken some damage on the side of Phantom Legion. React has been knocked down to 47 HP, but already a lot of pressure established here from Phantom Legion. Plus, Control somebody's already putting pressure around Beepers from metal stairs, and you also have somebody playing inside the main hallway as backup here for the Deimos, and they're already looking to either entry in. Plus, they also have security controls, so Phantom Legion really are just pinned down here, and you just have to wait for Zomblers to push.
Fire's gonna get a kill with the Pistol of Death. That's on to React, and now Phantom Legion's defense is starting to shake, but the timer is in their favor. Nade out. The Wamai's gonna help it out, though. The magnet system coming to the rescue, and the hatch control from Rival finds one, finds another. Double kill for him, and that should be the round for the defense. Not a lot of time. Not a lot of hope. Fire and Jaredin, the coach, the super sub on the way. Here comes the shotgun swing. The smoke is going to come out, and he has to run through. Not a lot. Rifle takes out one of his own teammates. Trev, as he always does, cleans up the end of the round. And a great defensive win from Phantom Legion, as we haven't seen a lot of success for these defenses on the second floor. And now a decent, healthy lead here for Phantom Legion. And they're slowly starting to separate themselves from Zomblers.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I made that seem a lot more threatening from Zomblers than it actually was, because even though they got like security control, they got 90 hallway control, they just didn't really get enough control in or very close in proximity to the site. And then when it came down to the nitty-gritty getting those gunfights, vertical control just didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. The only player that they really had a chance of getting inside of that round with the vertical pressure that they established, which was mainly towards bathroom with the hatch open, was Trevmac, and he just completely he killed everyone. I don't know how that's really allowed to happen with the hatch control. You also don't really have much to help in that position either, especially if you're locking down Fountain from security or even from the office doorway. It's very curious round in the end for Zomblers, who initially kind of had a good look in that round, but not really when it came down to the really important gunfights that they needed to win.
Right now, the substitute, Jarden, he's struggling. He's only got one kill to his name. It's been a bit of a struggle. He is on that support role, so it's not always about your KD, but it seems to be he's struggling to find his feeding here in Blitz Gaming. And on the other side of the coin, right now it's Trevmac versus Flixer. These two have been leading the line for both of these teams, and it is coming to this type of heavyweight battle that we're starting to see unfold. And we can't really predict which site is which in terms of favoritism, but right now this first floor inside the showers has been better for these defenses.
Yeah, I think for showers, it's just, I don't really know why it's so much more difficult or so much easier for the defense. I'm gonna be completely honest, because it really shouldn't be. There's kind of like, it's the same amount of difficulty when you're defending each and every site, apart from custom and inspections. That site sucks. But what doesn't suck is the Monty pick in this round for Zomblers. That's going to be Cordell sporting it, the big large mountain, that's what Monty means in French, or montagne. And he's going to be applying pressure towards the east stairs position. But again, these castle barricades are going to have some really big issues from Zomblers, especially with the way that they attacked this last time when they were attacking the same site and going for the same control on the second floor.
Yeah, the Monty has always been where the eyes go when he isn't on the ban list, and we're gonna see him brought out for the showers take. A minute 30 from Zomblers, and they have very little presence inside the site.
What?
But Flixer just activates his Homelander X-ray vision and rips off React's head. Great shot there, React. I think he was on his phone playing Angry Birds. I'm not sure, but he's now going to be spectating the rest of this round, and that might be the opener for Zomblers, which is a massive one because Phantom Legion are on the cusp of going to match point. But still, you have to worry about that time. If you're on the side of Zomblers, you gotta start making your way towards site. You don't have a lot of second floor, but when Flixer is shooting like this, it doesn't really matter too much. He is making his presence felt. Cordell now might be given a path to start working his way into the site, and with Flixer behind him, it is a 1-2 combo that is dangerous for any team. Flixer, once again, here's a triple kill for the man. He's shooting through walls, he's taking off heads, he's doing it all, and there's another player lined up. Does he know that this player is towards the breach? A stun's down. He knows something's up on the second floor. But surely this is going to be a Zomblers round. All 5 players remain for this offense. The diffuser's going down. Cordell planting. Epic is too worried about the aura of Flixers. Here comes the swing, and it's going to be shut down. But still, the diffuser goes down. It's all at the Epic. He's going to drop off the balcony into the loving arms of multiple players for Zomblers. And it's a great offensive round off of the heels of one man and one man alone.
Yeah, that was just extremely odd. I'm gonna be completely honest. Starting off with that very first kill, huh?
You had to have a drone on that first kill. So that was.
I don't think so. He was just like spraying in 90 because maybe he had like some info originally, but then he was just like, he was just in that moment deciding to spray down. I don't know why they're playing in the middle of 90 with that wall unreinforced. You should probably have one side of it reinforced and then the other maybe with some hit holes, or like, I don't know, both sides if you plan to play in 90. I don't really know why that's extremely soft. That was extremely easy for Zomblers, specifically for Flixer to be able to get like 3 kills in that round, I believe. And that puts him up to 14 and 7. It was just way too easy to get that second floor control once they got that opening kill, and then it seemed like from there Phantom Legion just took like way too many ones against Flixer, just giving him 1v1 gunfights every single time, and you're facing up against an ARX from range with an ACOG with SMGs and hollows. That's just not good, and you get punished for it, and that was very good for Zomblers, specifically Flixer, to be able to do.
Yeah, Flixer is kind of just pulling his team back into this one. Phantom Legion was able to snap back in, but they haven't had a super dominant lead. Zomblers just keep on nagging at the heels. And that match point is still illuminating for Phantom Legion, but you've got to shut down Flixer if you want to get the ball rolling. Looking at the operator selection, it looks like that setup that we saw from Zomblers earlier, that Phantom Legion was able to expose. They were able to get Rival into positions where they can just open up the walls, but Flixer, he overheated there, and he's going to be put out. It's now 5v4 for Phantom Legion, and when we saw this site setup beforehand from the Zomblers, Phantom Legion was able to pick it apart, and now they've got one extra man to do so.
Yeah, I mean, you see that run out all the time, and it's usually because you like snip out some sort of weakness from the attack. But I don't really know what the weakness is, because you have somebody on generator, you also have a lot of people on that balcony. I don't really know why you swing that, and it's very odd that he just did that originally, because you put yourself in a 5v4, you have considerably less positions that you're watching. Phantom Legions is knocking on the door because they have CCTV control, and with that kill, it's going to probably mean that they have an easier time moving into positions like office and archives, because there's only really the Clash, and just the Clash with support from Cordell, who has to support the Clash.
Here comes Phantom Legion. Oh my goodness, Valeno I thought he was going to run right on into sight, but he's going to slow down just a tad. Rival is still opening up this floor, making life oh so difficult wherever you try to stand, and the Buck Skeleton Key gives the information for Rival as he's going to shut down Cordell on the roam, and that's the smoke. That is such a massive operator to take down. In the meanwhile, Epic has fallen, so there's no more Grim. I don't know if they even used any of the Grimby canisters. The Clash is going to stand tall despite the stuns coming through. Just denying Valeno any sights on to the objective. Oh, he knows someone's around this corner. Here comes more stuns. Here comes a collapse, but he's going to stun himself. It's just a leap of faith into the abyss. And Phantom Legion now, they have a 3v1. It's all up to Jardin. nothing he can do. Valeno snaps onto that one, and the overheat early in that round just made it so difficult for Zomblers. And now it's match point for Phantom Legion.
Yeah, and I'm also going to be completely honest. I'm not a big fan of the way that they're playing the defensive setups, especially when they're trying to hold like top floor specifically. Because let's face it, when you're playing the first floor sites, you're always going to hold top floor. With the way that they're playing the top floor setups, they're playing extremely condensed, and they're not really holding on to much space. And you just give up so much of your Phantom Legion. You're just giving so much of that to Phantom Legion. And when they're playing as condensed as they are, and you also have the buck down below, you have pressure from security server, from just outside of the locker's balcony, you make it so much harder on yourself to just try and play site effectively. The only time that Zomblers went out of their comfort zone in that round and were slightly effective in slowing that attack from Phantom Legion was the kill down below that happened from Rival at a buck when he was being pressured from, I think it was not the one it was someone totally different. But that player got killed almost immediately because Rival just won his gunfight. And so now Phantom Legion are on this attacking half, on match point, and you have to have a change here if you're Zomblers, because these defenses, especially on these extensions up top, have just been very easy to exploit from Phantom Legion.
Match point to Phantom Legion. Everything to play for here. The substitute for Zomblers has been very slow, but Flixer has been super aggressive. He either goes down in blazing glory or he gets snuffed out quickly. He's been very aggressive and pivotal for Zomblers, but Phantom Legion are controlling the series so far and look to take the top spot in their group here as we are getting towards the business end of these group stages. And now Phantom Legion, they're going to get some tax to end this, or some chances to end this in regulation. Can they do so? And the IQ right now is making that life so difficult for those pesky Valk cams.
Yep, again, they're playing only 2 players up here this time around, so this is not the same thing that they did last time, but they are not playing for space around the lockers area. That's going to make it so much easier for Phantom Legion to pinch out the Fountain player. Not only will they be able to open up the wall by Fountain via the Selma charge, which has been activated now, but they're also pushing in from lockers.
Ooh, massive kill from Rival. Cordell gets shut down. That was a true 1v1. There wasn't really any utility that was going on there. It was just both of these players really swinging, and it's going to go the way of Rival. The Banshee is going to be taken out. The floors are going to hop in, and now the second floor control is starting to go the way of Phantom Legion. And that's one more down. Actually, no, I thought Rival got a kill, but it's Flixer. Once again, he's been the saving grace for the Zomblers team. And boy, oh boy, do the zombies need to find a way back to life here. 4v4. This game has slowed down. Perseus, now he's also going to come into the fray. He's going to find React unaware. And there's a Legion for your toes, trying to dodge the bullets. He can't pull it out just yet. A lot to work with for Valeno. But look at this. The second floor has easily gone the way, actually, of Phantom Legion. There's still plenty of time on the round. And now it's about working this hatch. But the numbers are in favor of the defense.
Yeah, they also, fortunately enough, still have the ramp alive, and not only do you have the boogie drones, you still at least have that secondary shotgun and hair back pocket. Valeno, though, is going to go down because he peeks into the stall and almost loses his one. But at least Phantom Legion are going to be able to pick him back up, so now you at least have a 3v4 going into this execute.
But look at these C4s. They've got so many C4s to potentially work with. The Grims are going to come out. I think they're going to force this player out. There's the kill. Epic helps out his friend Valeno, who couldn't win that one previously, but Jordan drops. He was just maybe one bullet away from securing that knock, but it's not going to happen. What a snap there from Valeno. 8 seconds on the clock, though. Not a lot of time. Trev has to make a move. Perseus, he's starting to now come into the fray. Trev Mac, he's dancing and dueling with the team, and Perseus clutches out the round, and there was just not enough time. Phantom Legion, they got control of that second floor, but it was a little too late, and through the drone hole is Perseus. I mean, a minute on the clock, Chaka. You've got control of the second floor. They took so much time. Trevmac got down into showers when there was like, what, 8 seconds left? Just too long for Phantom Legion.
Yeah, but also the position of the Melusi of Perseus was like very poorly telegraphed from Phantom Legion. He was in tellers that whole entire round, and that wasn't really well read up until like the last portions of it. When Valeno lost his 1v lost the gunfight, it wasn't even really a gunfight. It was just Perseus getting a free kill on him playing inside of square. And so what that did is that removes like your crossfire, and you don't really have a lot of angles to work with because both of your players have dropped down the bathroom hatch. One has to plant and one has to watch not only just one angle because he's now playing the horizontal positions, but he's also having to watch two because the tellers player is there. And so you saw them kind of like wrestle with themselves mentally about like where they wanted to plant the bomb because they didn't have teller control, and the tellers player was just threatening them that whole entire round. It was so confusing towards the end. I mean, I might just have like my brain pop out of my head because it just didn't make any sense.
Now this is going to be the round. Zomblers has been struggling on defense. They haven't put a single one of the splits for their defense with 2 rounds. Phantom Legion actually won 3 offensive rounds last time. Their second floor defense has been easy to read for Phantom Legion, and it's what we're going to be seeing now. Nothing too much that they're going to change here, but a lot of pressure is riding on Zomblers to try and find a formula on the second floor.
I was riding on Phantom Legion to be able to close out this game too, because if they win it, they officially retain their position at the top of Group A. Or no, wait. No, this is Group A. Yeah, I can't remember. Like the orders of the games in terms of like groups is kind of like very weird. It was like Group C, D, and then A, or Group D, C, and then A. It was like very weird. So my brain is muddled. I've been trying to like remember that like order all day. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between an overtime win and a regular win. So yeah, there is a lot of pressure also on Phantom Legion to get this round specifically. You do not want to go it to overtime. But Zomblers, they keep hanging around. But look at the setup. There's an Amaru, there's a Glaz, there's a Ying, there's a Blitz. This is looking to be very, there's an Ash. This is looking of a recipe of, hey, we're going to move quickly here. And we see usually on these second floors that that's not always the case. Epic is waiting for some sort of go signal. This is going to be the window that they're going to try and jump through. You see Rival getting that Candela ready. Out through goes. Spider-Man goes through. Come on, Epic. Get out of the way, Rival. Spider-Man needs to come through. Flixer does find one. Oh, it looks like it's going to come crashing down. Epic finds one. There's a flash that's out. The Trevmac is trying to cause some chaos. There's a Maestro Cam that's in there. Perseus arises out of the locker room. A double kill for Perseus. And it looks like the defense is going to stand strong unless if React can do something heroic, but they know where he is. There's 2 players looking at him. They've got him lodged in between this walls. I'd imagine that there might be somebody flanking him as well. There's so much pressure coming down onto React. Can he get anything to maybe have a scrape at this one? There's a lot of time on the clock, but not a lot of hope in the camp of Phantom Legion. And the rush plant does not work out. Phantom Legion have actually been having so much success, but they change it up. They try to do something different. It did not work at all. And now we head to overtime. Zomblers keep on fighting.
It's a good round as well from Zomblers. I think for that issue with that attack from Phantom Legion, great idea. Poor execution, obviously, and the reason why is because they just didn't really have a lot of info. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest, like, I don't really think the glass is needed in that lineup if you're not going for an archives plant. There's not really a lot of angles that you can play far out from. I think if you replace the glass with the Grim for that push, you have a lot of info to work with. You actually know where the players are playing, and you can go for that push more effectively and get the kills that you need more effectively. And so now that they've gone for that very eccentric rush that didn't work out, we're going to be playing into OT. And like you mentioned just a little bit earlier, OT wins and OT losses actually do deduct some of your points too. So if you get an OT win, you only get 2 points in your group. If you get an OT loss, you still get a point, but it's just a point.
Yeah, so I mean, Zomblers are starting to walk out with this, but now they've got some momentum behind them. They looked really shaky on their first go at defense, and that's really why I love this 3-3 system, is it allows teams to make adjustments, allows them to breathe, and we're seeing that coming through for Zomblers. They're taking their time, they're thinking things through, and they're making the adjustments. And I think Phantom Legion, they didn't make the adjustments. They're not benefiting from this halftime talk and the extra time that you kind of get to think about what you've done in previous rounds. And you mentioned that the glass didn't really have an effect, and now it's all tied. We're over into overtime. Nothing's going to come from Valeno's Flores drone. But can they get something on the offensive round? We have been seeing more offenses, but these last couple of rounds have been kind of going both ways.
Alright, I just waiting to think about what to say, and then some damage is suffered from Valeno. Repelling up next to the potential wall, gets electrocuted for his troubles, but it does seem like they're going to try the same execute. Different idea though. They don't have the Ying this time around, so they are just mainly going to be attacking just that side of the balcony. No Amaru as well for the sandwich window plant, but they do have some resistance here. There's somebody playing on a bomb chassis. There's a shield inside of the small office area, or where there's a player playing in that position for the footholds. So this entry from Phantom Legion is going to be quite difficult, especially if they're just planning to just only directly push into the site from that position.
Yeah, they got no Amaru, they don't have the Blitz, they do have the Osa shield, and they've also brought out the Grim, so it does look a little bit different, but we might still see them try and get their push coming through this main breach. And it looks like Trevor's going to start to slowly walk up, and now he's going to have a good sight and a good little power position to try and hold this. Here comes some drone work from Valeno. He's going to spot that player over towards Fountain. So that's some crucial information to know about as they push. And this seems a little bit more methodical coming in from Phantom Legion, and it's going to award them a kill. Here comes Shred. He's going to place the Osa shield. Oh, man down is React. Fire throws out a C4. Is there any more to maybe stop this diffuser? It's gonna maybe go down. Yes, it will. It's gonna go down. 4v4, 4v2 in the blink of an eye. It's gonna go the way of Phantom Legion. However, Trev does drop. It's all down to Flicks. He's been so key in this rounds for Zomblers, but in the end, it's Valeno who shuts it down, and a much better execution. And I love the adjustment coming from Phantom Legion. They took their time, they got the information, and then they made the execute. They didn't just blind hit it. They made sure that their operators had some value. And it was a great textbook round for Phantom Legion, and they put themselves up here in overtime.
Yeah, and another thing that they had in that round as well was the Osa. And although, like, the Osa probably wouldn't be as important in other situations, it was very important in that situation because, like, at the end of it, Zomblers had no more nitros because they used all of their nitros on other things. I'm not too sure what, but one of them did get a nitro kill. But you really need explosives to help you counter an Osa shield. And once that Osa shield is placed down, you also get a plant down too. You have no more explosives, you have no impacts, no more nitros. You have no way to counter the Osa shield anymore, and it's going to make it very hard to retake site. So the information game was much better from Phantom Legion. Like you said, the execution was slightly better, but also the post plant was extremely solid to the point where Zomblers had really no way of getting back into that round once the plant did go down.
We've seen this second floor a lot now, and I'm curious, how is Zomblers going to adjust to this? They got to get this round, obviously. Phantom Legion is now on match point, this time in overtime. We're not seeing too much of an adjustment in terms of the operators for the defense. I'm just curious, how is Zomblers going to find a way into this one? Because it is do or die time here in the group stage of Blitz Gaming.
And they want to put more emphasis on playing around the first floor with the Buck and the Demos. And it's really the same lineup that they've been running consistently whenever they've attacked onto the second floor. It hasn't changed much. And the same thing can be said for Phantom Legion. They've stuck the Maestro, they've stuck the Malusi. They have plenty of info on their side, and they've also snuck the smoke in here a couple of times too over other options. So, you know, maybe this will play the same way that we've seen other rounds play out, where Zomblers kind of like get early control and they're able to turn it into like a really nice execute, like they've been able to do in previous rounds on the second floor when they've been attacking using the same strategy.
Well, it looks like it's a game of gone hunting because they've got a Deimos, they got a bunch of people on the first floor. It looks like, hey, once we get these pings, start shooting at them from below. That seems to be the goal of this Zomblers team. They're not really having a lot of presence towards the second floor. That's where the objective is. So it's all going to be on getting early kills and then maybe trying to take for that second floor. But there's nobody on the first floor. Here's our first target from the Deimos. It's going to be on to Epic, but those mute jammers, you just step right on into that and it takes care of that problem of being tracked. And still, you have to think about where are these players and can you force them out of those mute jammers? That's going to be the first step really for this Buck. Get rid of the mute jammers.
get rid of the mute jammers, you can play around your info more effectively. But it's also a matter of like figuring out. Well, wait, there is no mute jammers. You've completely trolled.
Wait, so how did he wait? How did they get rid of the Deimos track? I thought there was a mute. Oh, it was a smoke that they brought. I'm so confused.
Yeah, it was a smoke.
Wait, how do you get rid of the? Dude, this is too much for my silver PlayStation brain.
He probably canceled it. You can cancel it.
Oh, I thought I saw a track go live. Anyways, dude, yeah, that's what I was totally thinking. Oh, I'm brain rotted. I tricked you though, Chaka. I tricked you.
No, it's alright.
It's still
okay,
5v5. 40 seconds. They're not making a lot of pressure over towards second floor. Fire is trying to work his way in. Yeah, but it's slow from Zomblers. Can they get in? Can they cause some chaos? They know what's going to happen here. You can see Fire laying it up, and now all of a sudden Valeno, Epic, they're going to get kills. React drops. The numbers go in favor of the team that's on match point, and the time is also in favor of Phantom Legion, but the diffuser's going down. This is really the only hope for Zomblers. They have to get this diffuser down, but out comes through the windows his rival. Diffuser down, but the hopes are also down. It's Phantom Legion. They take it in overtime. Yes, they're not going to get maximum points, but in the end, they close it out. Zomblers, they fought tooth and nails into this one, but in the end, it was just not enough. Phantom Legion close it out.
Without a mute. Without a mute. And so it's an aggressive reaction from Phantom Legion. As soon as Zomblers tried to put pressure around the site, they killed the sandwich window player, and then they also killed a lot of different positions as well, and that kind of gave Zomblers less to work with. They did try to go for a plant, almost pretty successful with it. You lose so much control though in that early to late round that Phantom Legion just can retake from so many different positions, and you don't really have any assurance of actually winning that round once the defuse goes down. A very solid game from both teams that went the full distance, and it ended with Phantom Legion getting an 8-6 win in Group A.
Yeah, congratulations, Phantom Legion. They pulled it out, and that was after a hot start from Zomblers. They took the first 2 rounds, and it was really looking to go their way. But in the end, just too much to handle. And it was a Phantom Legion surge that really got them back into that one. There was like 3 or 4 rounds that they ripped after those 2. So that start was really, I think, what the tell was. And it looked like the substitute for Zomblers just really might have hindered them a little bit in that regard. Maybe too much of a last-minute sub or an adjustment. But Phantom Legion closed it out in style. And that's also going to be the closing of our day here in Blitz Gaming. It has been some chaotic action. We saw a sweep from Kunai. Well, not a sweep. It was a 7-1 or was it 7-2? I forget
7-1.
now. 7-1, yeah, over Hush. And then we see Phantom Legion also close it out in overtime. Fluffy Aimers did forfeit their game. So if you were here for that, it's not going to be on. So that game is going to immediately go the other way. But that's going to do it here. Thank you for joining me today, Chaka, and thank you all of you guys for tuning in and watching this stream. It's late. It's time to get the sleep. Well, not too late. Maybe you can get a couple of ranked games in. But until next time, everybody, take care and have a good night.
From my enemies, deliver Wanna be delivered to the I wanna be delivered to the rock.
I didn't wanna see you when you came home, 'cause you always try to hurt me, and that's so low. When I talk to you about it, you're in defense mode. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. How can we work on ourselves when you say no? Whoa, oh, oh, oh. I'll never go on like this, so don't you think you got me up yet? I can't seem to deal with this. You try so hard to pull me in. I'll never go on like this, so don't you think you got me up yet? I can't seem to deal with this. You try so hard to pull me in.
She got me hooked up. Well, she pulling me in like a black hole, trapped in a grip and I can't break. Out of control and I can't feel.